It may not be December, but the wind is blowing pretty hard right now. Xenoblade Chronicles X just received a brand new trailer, and it confirmed so many features we were hoping for. From the retooled UI to the new story expansion, there is so much to talk about and discuss today with this brand new trailer. Welcome back to Beyond the Conduit, and let's kick off 2025 and episode 5 of this series with the brand new trailer breakdown of Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. Alrighty, so I think the first place we have to start is the UI. To be honest, Xenoblade has always kind of been in the area of having complex UI, but Xenoblade Chronicles X was by far the worst culprit for many. The text was ultimately really small, and everything was really confusing. You didn't have any tutorials, and you were just kind of thrown in battle with all sorts of buttons and clutterness everywhere. However, that's been rectified with this release. We mentioned a lot of things that we wanted in our Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition features video, and we've got them here. Text size was the one thing we needed the most, and that's obviously been addressed, as you can see with this screenshot. Everything is readable, and quite honestly, it seems like they've taken some elements we saw from the previous Xenoblade games and brought them in here. You'll notice that the text is bigger and pretty readable. I don't have an issue reading this like I did with the prior font, it's just easier to read. I do think there's an argument that the game kind of loses some of its charm going to this font style from the previous one, but I take this any day of the week over the last one, primarily because you can actually read it and you don't have to squint to see it. There's also another huge feature that you can see in this screenshot. Right there in the top right, there's actually a combo guide for Overdrive. Where has this been? If you played the original game like me, you know that you kind of just had to figure it out yourself. I found myself using different guides and things like that to learn how to play the game essentially, because there was really nothing here. Sure, you could kind of piece things together and learn along the way, but to really master Overdrive and understand how to use the different combos, there really wasn't many resources available within the game. I think this change is huge for new players especially, because they're not going to have to worry about, oh, how do I do this or that? You can just simply reference the guide, and by the looks of it, you can press the minus button and close it. Having a guide like that quickly accessible in combat is going to be amazing. It's so funny because if you go on Twitter right now, almost everyone talking about this game is saying it's actually legible UI, which is so funny to me because yeah, this was seriously one of the biggest problems with the original release. Here's another screenshot showcasing the text again. As you can see, once again, we've got it going great. You can read the text, you see what you're supposed to get, and there's no issues at all. Now that the Wii U is gone, the minimap is now in the top right. The follow ball also looks a little bit different than it did in the original release, which I'm glad. This is seriously an amazing feature helping you to navigate the world, and Xenoblade 3 had something similar that really helped. Beyond UI, there's also quite a few gameplay changes and little things here and there that we can discuss. First, they've finally removed the level cap. If you're someone who played the original game on Wii U, you'll know that you could only reach level 60. However, with new screenshots, we've already seen players at levels up to 83. This means that likely the level cap now is 99, and I'm guessing this was factored in for new bosses, the new story content, and more. Overall, I think it's a great change solely for the fact that it means more content for us and more things to do. The more time I can spend in Mira, the better. Now, really, with gameplay, the last thing I want to highlight is the fact that we saw a Skell jump. In the original release, when you jumped with your Skell, you initiated flight mode. I really wonder if there's a toggle now that allows you to jump normally around the world, because that would be really awesome and a great feature to add to this ultimate version of the game. Shifting gears a bit, I want to highlight the graphics. I mean, seriously, this game looks incredible. I don't know if it's controversial to say, and I definitely need to get my hands on the game before making this claim, but this just might be Monolith Soft's best looking game yet. The world is filled with so much detail, and even on Wii U, this game was impressive, but I feel like it's taken leaps here on Switch. All the new character renders look great and really expressive. Granted, the characters aren't near as expressive as they might be in the prior Xenoblade games. However, I still think they're plenty good enough. It's just great to see Elma with her new hairstyle and everyone else come together in this definitive edition of the game. X is a little strange compared to the other Xenoblade games, mainly because you get to customize your protagonist. You aren't given someone and set with them for the story. No, you actually get to go into a character creator and create them. One of the funniest things that surfaced from the character creator in Definitive Edition is actually that Monolith has included both Mithra and Nia's hairstyles. So if you want to rock it, you can rock it and run around with Mithra's iconic hairstyle in the world of Mira. That certainly wasn't available in the original game. Alrighty, we're now here at the part you've probably been waiting for. It's time to talk about the new story content. Before we dive into this really exciting new footage, I'd really like to make something clear. If you haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles X, I recommend that you don't watch this next half of the video. I'm going to be talking about the story of the original game, as well as bringing up some concept art from the art book and speculating how that could relate to the expansion or the new chapter. If you'd like to go in as blind as possible, this is probably not the best thing to watch. Now that that's out of the way, let's dive into this incredibly exciting new story content. Picking up right from the end of the trailer, the Black Knight has his hood off and he's got white hair, something we weren't ever guaranteed or confirmed on in the original game. Based on the dialogue here and just my gut feeling, it seems like the Black Knight is indeed Elma's partner who is alive. I've already seen a few people connect the white hair to being Albedo from Xenosaga, and that would blow my mind, but who knows, it's worth mentioning. But we can talk about that at another time. The big deal here is that we actually see the tandem Skell from the beginning of the game in a new cutscene. As the story goes, Elma's partner sacrificed himself to let the white whale escape and crash land on Mira to survive. He's been presumed dead for the whole game, but it makes a lot of sense if he is the Black Knight, somehow either back from the dead or alive this whole time. His Skell in particular also is quite interesting. If you look at it, what does it remind you of? Hopefully the answer was Ouroboros. It's got that same purplish orange hue to it, and there's even different orbs on its body that look eerily similar to Ouroboros. This Skell in particular is so interesting because in the original game with the art book, this Skell was drawn out and it looks again just like an Ouroboros. 2 pilots were required to use this thing, and Elma and her partner were in it at the beginning of the game before he saved her and sacrificed himself. There's just too many coincidences with this design to make me think that there isn't some sort of connection with Ouroboros. Granted, will that play out and will we see it in the game? I have no idea, and it's anyone's guess. But if I were a betting man, it's hard to think that there isn't some sort of connection there. Moving on a little bit from story, we also saw a brand new location. This location looks incredibly cool and unique. It's got all sorts of floating islands and things like that with a giant building in the middle. Don't shoot the messenger, but that tower in the middle is really reminding me of Aincrad. Gut feeling for me says that it might be the core of Mira or something that we have to explore. I think an area like this would really allow us to dive into the secrets of the planet that we weren't aware of in the original game. This area definitely reminds me of the same scale of something like Bionis Shoulder, but it looks much bigger. I mean, that shot of them at the end overlooking the whole thing made me be like, wait, this is way bigger than I thought it was. I'm really interested to see what might lie in this area, and once again, with the kind of green aura surrounding everything, it really does make me think this is inside the planet. And really, there's still a few more things that we got that weren't in the original game. For one, I'm not quite convinced that the music at the end of the trailer was composed by Sawano. It sounds something closer to Kenji Hiromatsu or Ace Plus, that's the in-house team for Xenoblade. I really do hope I'm wrong here, but at the moment that's kind of where my head's at. Don't get me wrong, I adore both Kenji Hiromatsu and Ace Plus with their contributions to Xenoblade. However, Sawano had such an interesting flair with Xenoblade X that honestly really allowed him to elevate his style overall for the anime he's worked on after, so I would have loved to see him return to the project after so many years. I could be completely wrong about this, and it wouldn't be the first time, so we'll have to see whether or not Hiroyuki Sawano returned for these new tracks on the epilogue. Additionally, there's the brand new Clurian girl who's just like Celica, and she's probably going to be a really important part of the story. We also have a brand new Skell, and even a brand new character who's a pilot for Blade with the almost Yoko Taro-like mask. Didn't know that we had a collaboration going, but I'm for it. And really, the thing that connects all of these different pieces together is the fact that almost everything outside of that last character appeared in concept art. The art book for Xenoblade X had almost everything in this trailer present, from the new location with concept art that looked eerily similar from years ago, to even the new Clurian who was originally in the art book, or someone who looked very similar to her. And that's not even considering that white Skell that the white pilot is driving. Of course, that was what we called the Black Knight Skell from the concept art book that transformed into like a jet almost, and now it's here, but it's not with the Black Knight. To me, that says that Takahashi and the team have had a plan for what they wanted to do for a long time, ever since the game came out. Clearly, this was cut content, and this release is going to allow them to implement this into the full game at last. There's a grand epilogue to be told here, and I'm so excited to see how this is going to unfold. Due to the way that the trailer was cut, it's hard to tell if these new characters and moments seen outside of that last little bit are part of the epilogue or just incorporated into the main story. If it's the latter, I think that honestly makes this way more interesting. Clearly, once again, this is meant to obviously be the definitive edition of Xenoblade X, and I think that goes for story as well, fitting together the pieces that they wanted to add in the original game but couldn't for one reason or another. Here in the coming weeks, we'll have plenty to discuss specifically on the story. You can count on us for having a large conversation just about that. But this video is about the whole trailer, and overall, I'm very satisfied with this second trailer for Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. March really cannot get here quick enough. Before wrapping things up, I think it's only fair to discuss the sad reality that we probably aren't getting a collector's edition for this game. This is something that Monolith has done for Xenoblade Chronicles X, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I have every single one of them, and I was really looking forward to a new one for X Definitive Edition. However, it seems that that's not in the cards for this release. I'm sure there were plenty of logistics behind this decision, but it is disappointing to say the least. I'm hoping that Monolith will consider releasing an art book featuring the new character model art and new environmental art that surely went into this release down the line. We already have one art book for Xenoblade X, but I really would love another. Overall though, the lack of a collector's edition is just a chip on the shoulder. I am so hyped for this game and nothing is going to bring that down. Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition is truly living up to its name. It has everything I'd want from a re-release of this amazing title, and I'm looking forward to diving in myself when it hits Switch this March. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 5 of Beyond the Conduit. As we continue throughout 2025, you can expect all sorts of content on X Definitive Edition, in addition to the rest of the series, whether it be Gears, Saga, or Xenoblade. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button and let me know in the comments what you're looking forward to the most from this new trailer. We'll catch you next time.